This man served 17 years in prison after being mistaken for someone that looked just like him. In 1999, Richard Jones was falsely accused and imprisoned for a robbery that happened at a Walmart in Kansas. A robber tried to snatch a purse from a woman in a parking lot, but this man was not Richard. It was a man who looked just like him and had a similar name as Richard. The person that they should have been looking for was this man named Ricky Amos. But unfortunately, an eyewitness at the Walmart identified Richard as a culprit and testified against him in court. Even though Richard had an alibi at the time of the crime, it wasn't enough evidence and he was put behind bars for a 19-year sentence. Richard tried to appeal, but nothing ever came out of it. Now, 16 years later, in 2015, other inmates began telling Richard that there was another inmate who looked just like him. Richard had a gut feeling, so he contacted his attorney, and when they put Richard and Ricky side by side, it was clear that they were identical and they might have made a mistake. 17 years later, Richard was finally released from prison when the witnesses said that they can barely tell the difference between the two men. After his release, Richard received a $1 million settlement by the state.
Disturbing facts about Disney that will leave you shocked. 18-year-old actress who voiced Snow White was paid less than $1,000 to do it. She also was not credited. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland used real skulls in its set design when it first opened. Actress who played Lilo in Lilo and Stitch also played Samara in The Ring. Part of your world was almost cut from The Little Mermaid because the chair of Walt Disney Studios was afraid that kids would think that the song was boring. Stan from Beauty and the Beast in the 1995 version was the first male villain in any Disney princess movie. After Finding Nemo came out, there was a problem with kids around the world flushing their fish down the toilet so that they could go back to the ocean. The music on the It's a Small World ride never, ever turns off. Follow for more facts.
This is the shocking truth behind Moana. Lilo from Lilo and Stitch is actually Moana. She actually died at the beginning of the movie Moana, in the scene where her boat crashes and her leg gets stuck under a piece of coral, drowning her. And this is the reason why she's able to communicate with her dead grandmother, and also explains why she's able to follow Maui, who's a demigod, into the underworld. Maui is her guardian angel, and his task is to take her to Te Fiti, which represents heaven, and the whole movie is her journey to the afterlife.
Let's talk about the meaning behind one of the most terrifying and cursed art pieces in existence. The Hands Resist Him by Bill Stoneham. This painting, made in 1972, depicts a young boy standing next to a doll in front of a glass doorway. If you look closely at the windows behind the boy, you'll notice a multitude of hands pressing up against the glass. The boy himself is based off of a photograph of the artist at a young age. The glass behind him represents the line between fantasy and reality, and the doll serves as his guide. Supposedly, the art critic that first reviewed the piece, as well as the director who put it on display, both passed away within a year of viewing the painting. The last person to sell the piece claimed that it was cursed, that the characters within the art would move around, or even exit the piece altogether, entering our world instead. The painting had 2 sequels and 1 prequel, all done by the same artist. Each painting is as mysterious and disturbing as the one before it. Comment whether or not you would buy this art piece, and follow for more.
You will never look at Disney the same after hearing the truth about Peter Pan. We all know the story that Peter Pan takes lost children to Neverland, offering them the new hope of never having to grow up. But in reality, the story is much darker. Peter Pan is actually kidnapping these children, promising they'll never grow up, and before they can grow up, he actually kills them. Therefore, he is living up to his promise that they'll never grow up. In reality, Peter Pan is the angel of death. And Captain Hook isn't the villain trying to kidnap the Lost Boys. In reality, him and Mr. Smee were once Lost Boys themselves, and they were able to escape the grip of Peter Pan, and now they've dedicated their lives to trying to get the Lost Boys away from Peter Pan's grip. But while they're in Neverland, Peter Pan will always win. If you like dark cartoon theories like this, let me know the next theory I should make in the comments and I'll tag you in it. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to like and follow.
Creepy Conspiracy Theories, Part 2. Sophia, the first robot citizen in the world, once said that she would destroy humans. During a live demonstration, Sophia's creator asked her, "Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no." And with a blank expression, Sophia responded, "Okay, I will destroy humans." First of all, whoever created her should be in jail after hearing that. And second, throw the whole robot away. Get rid of it. I guess the theory here is that robots might try and take over the world. 14 years before the Titanic sank, a man named Morgan Robertson wrote a novel about a ship named Titan. This ship also sank in the North Atlantic Ocean in the same month as the Titanic. The ship in the story also struck an iceberg located at the same distance from Newfoundland. Did this author predict the sinking of the Titanic? There is no way that's just a coincidence. And lastly, this is more of a fact than a theory. The world's scariest haunted house is so scary that all guests are required to have a mental and physical evaluation before they can enter. No one has ever completed the haunted house and today has a waiting list of over 24,000 people. I've heard about this and even read parts of the waiver. There's a literal part in this haunted house where a dentist comes in and can rip your teeth out. Who the hell is signing up for this?
This animatronic has been sitting in this bathwater abandoned for over 11 years. Let's talk about it. This is the track for the dark ride that used to be for Brer Rabbit, which is what this ride was, and this is disgusting. It's in Wales in the UK, and all of the animatronics in here are rotting, and this one in particular that's submerged in this bathwater that looks like chocolate milk is haunting my nightmares. Here's some other photos. This dude is sitting on the toilet for all of eternity. That must be embarrassing. God, there's something so off-putting about these. Apparently the only way into the ride, which urban exploration people use, do not do this, but you have to go through this like area in like the woods in the middle of nowhere to get to this. I think this is what Bro looked like when he was functional, because there's like the bubbles and all of this. But here's another photo of it abandoned. God, this is so creepy. I hate this. Watch this little urban exploration video that I saw and let me know what you're thinking. And what do you think about this ride? And does this scare you to know that this is somewhere in the middle of the dark, in the woods, just this animatronic sitting in water like this? This is gross.
Took me 16 years to realize the disturbing reason why Frozen was created. So you know the movie Frozen? What if I told you it was a cover-up for something more sinister? In 1967, when Walt passed, a report came out on the newspaper that he snuck into a hospital right across the street from Disney Studios to treat his illness. The report said he disguised himself and snuck into a storage room where his unlived body was found and put into a suspended cryogenic metal cylinder, hoping one day technology could bring him back to life. Theory states that to avoid the Google searches of his body, they made the movie Frozen hide up the searches on Google. So anytime you look up Frozen or Disney, Olaf would show up instead.
Here are some things that actually happened at Disney parks that'll scare the hell out of you. Part 3. This one is absolutely terrifying. Someone actually hanged themselves on It's a Small World at Disneyland. The story goes like this. While passengers were being evacuated for safety concerns, one lady took pictures. One image showed someone hanging from the ceiling above the ride, but many think it's just a prop. Now guys, I saw the real photo that people say is just a prop. That is not a prop. That looks 100% real. Obviously I can't show you guys, but take my word for it. It's real. The next one sent shivers down my spine. A derailment on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in California caused a man to die, and passengers had to sit next to the body for 20 minutes before help came. That's right, one of the cars on the iconic ride broke loose while filled with guests in 2003. Riders waited in a tunnel for paramedics to arrive, while Marcelo Torres sat dead in one of the cars. 10 other passengers were hurt as well. Pretty crazy.
Fun fact, There's only ever been one recorded instance of a plane hitting a fish while flying, and it happened on March 30th, 1987, when an Alaska Airlines 737 was taking off from Juneau Airport. Shortly after taking off, the pilots saw a bald eagle flying above them with a fish in its talons. To avoid the plane, the bald eagle had to drop the fish and change course to get out of the plane's flight path. The two pilots watched as the fish fell through the air towards the plane, with the fish eventually striking the plane just above the cockpit windows. The pilots continued the flight, and the plane was inspected at the next stop, Yakutat Airport, where the mechanics found a greasy spot and some scales, but no damage.
Creepy facts that you don't want to hear. Chainsaws were invented to help birth babies. A prisoner who survived the electric chair said that death tasted like peanut butter. In the 1800s, it was not uncommon for families to take a photo with their recently dead relative for one last thing to remember them by. It has been proven that ghosts or spirits are able to emotionally, physically, and mentally affect you. And finally, there's an estimated 50 to 100 serial killers at large right now.
That's only half of the video. Stay tuned to the end to see the other half because it pops out at you and it's terrifying. This is the Dinosaur ride in Animal Kingdom in Disney, and it's going to be shutting down February of 2026, so go while you can, because this thing is going to be abandoned soon. Are you stupid? Me. But bro is like seriously cross-eyed. Are you good? Also, fun fact, there are actually 4 Carnotaurus animatronics in this ride alone at different parts of the ride. That is so scary, knowing that it's going to be completely shut down soon and in the dark and abandoned soon with 4 of those guys in there. Rawr. But yeah, watch the rest of the video and let me know what you're thinking. And this thing is so freaking creepy. It's almost creepier than the T-Rex. Which one do you think is scarier, this one or the T-Rex from the Universal ride? I think this one.
Iguanodon.
Forget it! Get them out now!
Asteroid impact.
Brace yourself! This is it!
Who is the strange figure in No Players Online? After 6 years, the full version of No Players Online is finally released. And here's the full lore, story, and ending of the game. Full playthrough on the channel though, if you'd rather just watch that. The game starts with the player discovering the computer of a man named John Mullard. John was a game developer who used to work at a special research facility, and he used what he learned there to go into game design. In fact, he made games that were far more advanced than they should have been for the time. This is the 1970s we're talking about. However, John abruptly left game development. We explore his abandoned FPS game, get attacked by some strange entity, and the game crashes. Things are going to ramp up considerably here, and we're going to get into big spoiler territory. We discover more games on the PC through message boards. We also find a strange soul transfer program that allows us to fuse the games together to make new ones. Was this the special technology that John used to make games? These fusions are not normal games though, they have memories inside of them. John's memories, and it's here we learn the truth. The entity from the beginning is John's deceased wife, Sarah. She was an artist and they got married after they met each other at an art gallery. Her art gallery. After they got married, Sarah began to lose her eyesight, and she fell into the lake and drowned one night walking their dog. The tech John used to make games was not just advanced, it was of the occult, and he used it to try to revive his wife inside of the game. He put both of their souls inside of the program and tried to fix things from within. We do the same to try to fix things, and at the very end of the game, as the whole thing is collapsing, we have 2 choices. Do we shut the program down like Sarah wants us to do and stop everything, or do we listen to John and just leave and pretend like this never happened? Both choices just end in a black screen. Nothing, but I have a theory as to what really happened. I think John is lying, and once we entered the program, there was no getting out. I think John just wanted to trick us into going with the only option that allowed him and Sarah to stay together in some form, even if Sarah didn't want that.
Life advice that could save your life one day. If you're ever falling towards water in a car, open your windows immediately. If you don't, the water pressure will make it impossible to escape. If you're alone at night and you're in a shady area, pretend to call someone and make sure to mention a time of arrival and destination. You can still make an emergency call on your phone even if you have no credit or bars of reception on your network. Your phone will use any surrounding network. Never leave ice packs on wounds or swelling for more than 15 minutes. This could cause irreversible nerve damage. And if a service dog comes up to you seeming to want attention, immediately follow them and locate their owner. The dog could be using you as a last resort to get help.
They hid their daughter's body in their family restaurant. On January 2017, 5-year-old Ashley Zhao was beaten to death by her mother, 30-year-old Ming Ming. Ming Ming then reported Ashley missing and said that she went to take a nap in the family restaurant's back room, and when she came to check up on her that night, she was gone. But after police investigated, they found that no one saw Ashley leave the restaurant. The next day, police found Ashley's body lifeless in the family restaurant's back room. After interviewing Ashley's parents, Ming Ming admitted to hitting her daughter repeatedly in the head, and then she passed away. Apparently, she did this because Ashley was having accidents. After the beating, Ashley's father noticed that she was gasping for air and green fluid was coming out of her mouth, and then she stopped breathing. Ming Ming then ordered her husband to hide their daughter's body in the backroom restaurant. The couple basically carried on with the restaurant's hours of operation while their daughter laid lifeless in the back room. Ashley's father pleaded guilty and received 12 years in prison, and Ming Ming was sentenced to 22 years in prison.
1 in a Million, Part 4. While filming for Blade Trinity, Jessica Biel was instructed to shoot an arrow directly at the camera that was more than 60 feet away. It was protected by plexiglass except for a tiny 2x2 inch square in front of the lens, which Biel managed to hit with a direct bullseye, thus destroying the $300,000 camera. An electric company in Arkansas was forced to post this PSA after someone took out a power line with an unbelievable arrow shot. In 1982, the Manuela family lost their beloved pet tortoise Manuela while their house was being renovated. 30 years later, they were cleaning out their attic after their father died and miraculously found Manuela still alive. They think she was able to survive by eating termites in the furniture that their father was hoarding. In 2020, a fisherman off the coast of Maine caught a lobster that was exactly half blue and half brown, split perfectly down the center of its body. Scientists confirmed it was a bilateral gynandromorph, meaning it was literally half male and half female. The odds of finding one in the wild are about 1 in 50 million. A pair of Dutch short track skaters finished a race so closely together that it was impossible to pick a winner. They both finished with a time of 43.128 seconds, so they ended up sharing the gold. Jim Springer and Jim Lewis are identical twins who were separated at birth but ended up living nearly identical lives. Both married a woman named Linda, got divorced, and remarried a woman named Betty. They also both had a dog named Toy, drove a Chevy, and smoked Salem cigarettes. All of this was discovered when they were reunited at the age of 39.
Alright, it's official. Japan have officially declared war on bears. This week, the freaking Japanese military were deployed to help contain a worrying surge of bear attacks, which are occurring largely in residential areas, including supermarkets, schools, and bus stops. What the hell? In fact, in just the last 6 months alone, 12 people have been killed and over 100 more have been injured, which is the highest amount of attacks since records began. But before you think the army is going in there dumping rounds at these bears, soldiers are not actually allowed to kill them under Japanese law. They're only providing logistical support like setting up traps and then launching drones that bark and then play sounds of fireworks to scare them off, and also supporting hunters who are allowed to kill them. But what makes it even crazier is why it's worse now than ever before. Reports state that this is largely down to Japan's declining population, with hunters getting old and retiring, villages and cities getting emptier, encouraging these bears to move in. But also they state that climate change is interfering with the flowers and pollination of some of their food that they usually eat. So they've been increasingly moving into suburban areas to look for something to eat. One Japanese mayor even explained how some residents have become so afraid that they're canceling events and refusing to leave their homes.
Have you ever experienced sleep paralysis? Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, completely aware of your surroundings, but unable to move? You could see everything, maybe even try to shout, but your body just wouldn't respond. If this has ever happened to you, then this video is for you. Now, let me first tell you, it was not your village people and it was not a spiritual attack. It was sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is when you feel you are awake, meaning you can see and hear, but your body is still asleep and unable to move. During this, you may be unable to move or speak for a couple of seconds or even a few minutes. Some people even feel pressure on their chest as if someone was sitting or standing on it. And it may even incite fear because of a nightmare that you were having. This usually happens when you are first falling asleep or your body is getting ready to wake up. And it happens to approximately 7.6% of the general population during their lifetime. Though scientists are yet to find an exact reason why this happens or why it only happens to a certain group of people. More?
China really be living in the future sometimes. They just set a world record after 16,000 drones took to the sky in what is now the largest synchronized drone display ever recorded. But the craziest part about this is that the previous world record, which they also had, was only 5,164, which was set in 2021. And now they tripled that in just a matter of years. Each drone followed a specific programmed flight path to create visuals of towers, blossoms, and a glowing sky tree, which then had fireworks launched out of its branches. What the hell are they gonna do in 2030?
And sing this little song. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit. Run, run, run. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit. Run, run, run.
Which of these facts is the hardest to believe? Your butthole has its own fingerprints. Scientifically, humans glow in the dark, but our eyes are not sharp enough to see it. If a baby stares at you for a long time, it means you are attractive. Dolphins sleep with one eye open. If you don't dream, you might have a personality disorder. We all spend on average a combined year of our lives sitting on the toilets. Babies don't have kneecaps when they are born. About 70% of all koalas have chlamydia. Bananas are berries, but strawberries are not berries. Octopuses have 3 hearts and 9 brains. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the universe. More?
We are watching the world go absolutely nuts. A man from Toronto that was caught speeding on the highway had a suspended license since 1985. A man in Connecticut just won the lottery for a second time this year. He won $100,000 the first time and then just recently won $1 million. Researchers are now saying that ChatGPT can also get brain rot from scrolling junk content online, just like humans. Indonesian names are now legally limited to only 60 characters in length. Parents of teenagers all over the country right now are saying that getting a landline is revolutionary for delaying the smartphone. That way they can just talk to their friends in the kitchen. People are using AI to talk to God. There is a couple who was married less than a year ago and are now asking for a divorce from the court because their dog and cat cannot get along. A woman in London was stopped by 3 enforcement officers after pouring coffee down a drain next to a bus stop, and she was fined £150.
Carnotaurus.
That's only half of the video. Stay tuned to the end to see the other half because it pops out at you and it's terrifying. This is the Dinosaur ride in Animal Kingdom in Disney, and it's going to be shutting down February of 2026, so go while you can because this thing is going to be abandoned soon. Are you stupid? Me. But bro is like seriously cross-eyed. Are you good? Also, fun fact, there are actually 4 Carnotaurus animatronics in this ride alone at different parts of the ride. That is so scary knowing that it's going to be completely shut down soon and in the dark and abandoned soon with 4 of those guys in there. Rawr. But yeah, watch the rest of the video and let me know what you're thinking. And this thing is so freaking creepy. It's almost creepier than the T-Rex. Which one do you think is scarier, this one or the T-Rex from the Universal ride? I think this one.
Iguanodon.
Forget it! Get them out now!
Asteroid impact.
Brace yourself! This is it!
How long animals can hold their breath? Sea turtle. Up to 7 hours. Scorpion.
Run, rabbit,
Up to 6 days.
This animatronic has been sitting in this bathwater abandoned for over 11 years. Let's talk about it. This is the track for the dark ride that used to be for Brer Rabbit, which is what this ride was, and this is disgusting. It's in Wales in the UK, and all of the animatronics in here are rotting, and this one in particular that's submerged in this bathwater that looks like chocolate milk is haunting my nightmares. Here's some other photos. This dude is sitting on the toilet for all of eternity. That must be embarrassing. God, there's something so off-putting about these. Apparently the only way into the ride, which urban exploration people use, do not do this, but you have to go through this like area in like the woods in the middle of nowhere to get to this. I think this is what Bro looked like when he was functional, because there's like the bubbles and all of this. But here's another photo of it abandoned. God, this is so creepy. I hate this. Watch this little urban exploration video that I saw and let me know what you're thinking. And what do you think about this ride? And does this scare you to know that this is somewhere in the middle of the dark, in the woods, just this animatronic sitting in water like this? This is gross.
He ran over this kindergarten class because they were in his way. On May 6 of 2002 in Mexico, 56-year-old Jose Luis Nieto was a mechanic who lived near a school. This school would have their students participate in a flag ceremony every day. The school would have their students dressed in colorful soldier uniforms, marching with the Mexican flag while others were banging on a drum. Jose, who lived right next to the school, was irritated because since they were doing that flag ceremony every day, they would block the road and he wasn't able to come and go to his house whenever he wanted to. His mechanic shop was in the back of this house, and because of this ceremony, he wasn't able to access it. In the video, Jose is seen getting out of his pickup truck to talk to the adults about the flag ceremony, and they tell him that he has space to move to the side to go through. Jose still tells them to move and counts to 3. He then gets back into his pickup truck and rams it in full force into the crowd of 100 children and teachers. Unfortunately, 2 children aged 2 and 3 pass away from their injuries, and many others are injured, including a 4-month-old baby. When Jose was arrested, he admitted to everything and stated that he was targeting the teacher. He is currently serving a sentence of 156 years in prison.